What are the most common issues we see in business that have a relationship with third-party vendors on vendor agreements? The most common by far is the failure to identify timing of payments and the scope of work, especially on larger, longer-term contracts, to be able to break it down and say, okay, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, when do I have to pay, or when do you have to complete certain periods? Very typical in construction contracts that they don't define it enough, they don't attach the plans, they don't put certain requirements for permit approval. So defining the details of payment and the scope of work is a very common. In a different context, in service agreements that involve intellectual property, we see normally that they fail to designate who owns the intellectual property. Let's say you have a content creator or someone that's designing things for you. The contract doesn't define who owns the actual work product, the actual intellectual property that has been created. So that's also common things that we see. And the final one I would say is termination. Parties fail to put in their contracts, especially with third-party vendors. How are we going to get out of this? How are we going to divorce? How are we going to separate if we don't want to do business with each other? So a lot of contracts are silent of that. So that usually creates problems. So make sure you define how you can exit these contracts or some sort of process for terminating these contracts.